Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Scarlett here again with the next chapter of The Doctors. And this chapter is chapter 12, The Only Way. So, let's jump right in. Back in her office, Katie sits looking at all the paperwork they have been putting off for charities, family callbacks, and staffing requirements. It has continued to pile up while they've been preoccupied with their hobby. They've never had an assistant to take care of the overflow, and Katie decides to take care of that right now. She calls the front desk nurse and asks if she knows of anyone looking for a job as an assistant. If they can start today, the job is theirs. The nurse laughs and responds with, "Funny you should ask that. I'll send him right up." Katie can't believe how quickly and easily this is happening and is overly grateful for it. Walking towards the elevator to meet with a potential new assistant, she notices that Sean is still in the room with Maria's lifeless body. He appears to be admiring it, but she pays no mind to it as she continues walking, disgusted and thinking about what she'd just been through with Sean. There's nothing she wants to do now other than to start fresh and away from the mere thought of his actions or him. The elevator doors open and a young man in his mid-20s comes out. His physique catches her eye, and he is completely different from Sean, who is skinny and has never worked out. The young man's dark hair and hazel eyes, set in a stone face, are very soft on her eyes, along with his physique, which clearly demonstrates pride and care. She is feeling that this is going to be an excellent match going forward. "How are you? I'm Dr. Katie O'Connor. Looking forward to working with you," Katie says. "I've heard some interesting things about this hospital and you. I'm Willie," the young man replies, instantly crushing the aura surrounding him in her eyes. Speaking his name creates an instant view of him as a child and not a man. "Willie, huh? Short for William?" Katie asks. "No, just Willie. My mom was a fan of some whale back in the day," Willie answers, further crushing the mystique. "So what is it that you would need me to do?" he asks. "It is simple. You will do whatever it is I need you to do. You'll be working for only me. Don't worry about what Dr. Sean needs. You're my assistant, and if he chooses to have one, he can make those arrangements," Katie answers. "Okay, I understand. I've heard that you guys do some crazy stuff around here," an excited Willie says. "Willie, you've only heard a fraction of what it is that truly goes on here. If you only knew the true horrors behind this smile, I would think you wouldn't be so excited," Katie replies with a smirk. "Yeah, I'm sure it's only a piece, and it could even be exaggerated, as people tend to create monsters out of nothing. A mere fairy tale that can be someone's horror story. Let me help you find your inner monster for sure, and I'll worship you for the goddess you are," Willie says. "That's so sweet. It truly is. But I don't need you to worship me. I'll need you to fetch me my lunch, take care of some paperwork and callbacks, bring in my patients, and occasionally dispose of something. It's entertaining that you think I would need you to help me find my monster. I'm no monster. I'm a doctor," Katie replies with a smile, leaving Willie confused. He is unsure of what to make of the situation, as this doesn't sound like anything Willie had hoped for. Ever since hearing of the doctor's immunity and that the hospital was sanctioned as a part of the initiatives almost a decade ago, rumors about what was going on in the hospital started to spread through town like wildfire. When other members and handlers appeared in the area, it was confirmed to be true. It's not as though it was a secret, as the initiative has been making it clear the goal was to have killers work for them and eliminate other killers. Hope and excitement have been at a high for the young man because there are few people he anticipates bringing in for them. All he wants is to be in the room as it happens. Seeing the disappointment in his eyes, Katie instructs him to follow her as they head back to the office to get the day officially started. Along the way, they pass Sean's office, and she sees what Sean is still playing around with the corpse. Something that Willie has noticed as well. He wonders if he was given the wrong doctor on purpose because it appears that Dr. Sean is the one having all the fun. "Do you guys have any children?" Willie asks. "No, we don't. have any, but there's a girl we treat as if she were our own, and for now, that's good enough. If it's meant to happen, it will happen. I'm in no rush. We've had a good life up until now, and I feel complete without a child, Katie answers. Yeah, but don't you want one? Willie asks. For the longest time I did. Not so much now. We have so much going on that I wouldn't be able to balance it all out with the addition of a child. Something would suffer. I would truly hate to give up my job, but would also loathe being an absent or horrible mother, Katie answers with a tear in her eye. Trying not to carry on the conversation, Katie hands Willie a stack of files to be organized and filed away, along with a list of callbacks that need to be completed today. He looks disappointed but doesn't say a word as he sits down on the floor and starts all the while hoping to see Dr. Sean when he comes out of the room. Meanwhile, Katie lowers her head and starts to think of everything that has transpired in her life leading up to this exact moment when she was in medical school studying to become a neurosurgeon. She came across a patient she couldn't save due to an error on her part. It left such an impression on her that the very next day she changed her major to psychiatry. Psychiatry. Oh my God. I totally had a block there for a second. Wow. Psychiatry. That move came at a right time for her and has provided a life well beyond her expectations. Something more than she could ever have hoped for, but there's something she needs to accept. Trying to understand everything that has happened, she knows that to be content, she needs to be able to be happy on her own. It's been a long time that she's had to do anything on her own, and believes it might be the time to make an adjustment as it pertains to hers and Sean's personal life. She reviews that moment where she made the toughest decision of walking away from her family. As hard as it was, she doesn't regret it. Even though the love of her family is still there, everything she achieved after leaving them wouldn't have been possible had she stayed home. Everything I've done has been with the best of intentions. I've wanted to help everyone, Katie mumbles to herself, catching Willie's attention. Never experiencing anything like this, Willie sits there trying to make sense of it all because the job he's doing for her is easy and meaningless, something anyone will be able to do. He feels that she's not taking advantage of the skill set he possesses. The more he thinks, the more he feels that if he's made the wrong choice, but he stores away the files and excuses himself, claiming to need to use the bathroom. Watching him walk out of the room, Katie knows this is not what he wanted and doesn't expect to see him return. It is extremely boring to be stuck in an office doing meaningless work instead of experimenting on patients. She contemplates what she should do with Willie. Clearly, she needs an assistant, but knows that anyone who takes the job will expect to participate or at the very least watch as the doctors work the magic. Standing away from her desk, Katie notices that Willie is standing near the door to Sean's office, watching on as Sean continues to have his fun with the corpse. Katie, for her part, is surprised that he's still in there and is imagining Sean having sex with the lifeless body repeatedly. As that image eats away at her, she realizes she needs to find a way to overcome it if she wants to save her marriage, but more importantly, her sanity. Willie, come here for a second. There's something I need to tell you before you go, Katie says. Not wanting to let Dr. Sean know he's watching without saying a word, Willie signals her before starting to walk back, knowing he most likely blew his one chance to quit without making it difficult for himself or the doctor. Will, I know this isn't what you're looking for, and for that I'm truly sorry. But you need to understand that our immunity covers just us. So if I were to have you commit a crime or even be in the same room as it occurs, it would put you at risk of spending the rest of your life in prison, Katie says as Willie looks disappointed. Do you understand? I'm doing this for you and your family. This has always been about saving lives and making an impact, Katie adds. I understand, but you know this isn't what I signed up for. I can't be your assistant, Willie replies as she nods in agreement. They shake hands and he walks away, leaving her feeling content that the decision was beneficial for his lifestyle while allowing her to pursue someone else. While considering this, she watches on from her office and notices that he has again stopped at the room where Sean is still playing with Maria's lifeless body and proceeds to strike up a conversation with the doctor. Knowing she did everything she could to ensure the young man a way out, she realizes that at the end of the day, we're all responsible for our own choices. Willie has clearly made up his mind. She can't help but feel sorry for the young man. She feels that he's hoping for something far beyond his comprehension and is going to end up putting his future in danger, especially if he continues to hang around Sean. Closing the door, Katie returns to her desk and picks up on her earlier thoughts. She sits there thinking about how disappointed her father was when she changed professions and how extremely distressed he was when he met Sean for the first time. He had hoped to set her up with someone else, but after getting to know Sean, his dismay died down a bit. To this day, they still aren't on overly friendly terms. And that's something she's finally starting to understand as she contemplates what to do next. Okay, so that's the end of chapter 12. Next time we will do chapter 13, which will be Unwanted Visitors. So that's the end of that. So please make sure you guys like, share, subscribe, comment. Let me know what you think. I don't care. Just talk. It's great. Until next time, I guess. I'll see y'all later.